Did you know that the funny little Hatsune Miku rhythm game actually has lore? And like, a lot of it? Because I sure did, and good lord, there is so much lore packed into this little game. As someone who gets really invested in the story and lore of the games that they play, getting into Project Sekai around a year ago was a daunting task. Since the game had been continuously putting out new story content every 7 to 9 days for over 3 years at the time I started playing, there was a lot for me to catch up on. And I really cannot stress this, the amount of content in this game is absurd. Now it's taken me a while, but I'm finally getting caught up on the lore for this game. I think it's because of Mizu 5 and Enna 5, if I'm being honest. I was perfectly content to be clueless about the actual events of the story up until those events came out. I'm sure a lot of other people had the same thoughts that I did. I'm also sure most casual fans don't really want to put in the effort to play through all the event stories and side stories. Did you know that each event story is about an hour long of straight dialogue? And with no English dub, that can be hard to sit through. Lucky for all of you, that's what this video is for. Or rather, that's what these videos are for. I'm taking the bullet for all of my fellow lazy people and watching all of the event stories just so I can summarize them in a shorter video like this one. Obviously, I'm starting out with Nightcord at 2500. Now, I'm going to stick to the events that are out on the EN server, and once I get through all of those for each group, I'll move to covering the JP events. I plan to do all of Nightcord, Vivid Bad Squad, and Wonderland X Showtime, but we'll see if I ever get that far. For all you Leonid and More Jump fans, if you can convince me to be interested in either of those groups, I might consider doing summaries for them too. Anyway, I find it really surprising that there are no actual summaries of any event stories on YouTube. I could only find videos on the main story. That's why I'm starting off with Imprisoned Marionette here, since you can easily find a main story summary for N25. I'll be talking about the Nigo characters under the assumption that you already know the main story and all that stuff. I think that's enough introduction. Without further ado, let's get into Nightcord's first event, Imprisoned Marionette. Imprisoned Marionette is a Mafuyu focus event that ran on the JP server from October 20th, 2020 to October 31st, 2020. It is Nigo's first event and the second event overall. The commission song for this event is Jackpot Sad Girl. My friends and I like to joke that Jackpot Sad Girl grips new Project Sekai players like a vice and becomes the only thing they can listen to for a few weeks or so, and it certainly happened to me. Directly following the events of the main story, N25 goes back to writing songs as per usual. Kanade feels uneasy about composing music that could save Mafuyu, but she works tirelessly nonetheless. Kanade sends over the most recent mock-up of their new song, and the group gives her feedback. When asked for her opinion of the song, Mafuyu gives a closed-off and emotionless response, saying she neither liked nor disliked the song. This frustrates Enna. As soon as Mafuyu leaves the call for the night, Enna rants to the others about how draining it is to talk to Mafuyu and how she can't understand her at all. Kanade and Musique agree, but they're a lot nicer about it. The next morning, Honami comes over to Kanade's apartment to clean. This is a cute little cross-group interaction reveal since Honami is a member of Leonid. Because Kanade is living by herself, her grandmother suggested that she hire a housekeeper to keep her apartment clean, and that's why Honami is there. Once Honami is finished, she makes tea for herself and Kanade. They talk about wanting to be helpful, and Kanade mentioned that there's someone she wants to help but doesn't know how to. Honami gives her advice. Get to know the person you want to help, and that's half the battle. Just before Honami leaves, she mentions to Kanade that she received some free tickets to a doll exhibit from a friend but couldn't go herself. She gives the tickets to Kanade and leaves. That night, Kanade brings up the exhibit to the rest of the group. Musique suggests that they all go together and make it a fun little group outing. They all agree to go on the upcoming Saturday. Fast forward to Saturday, we see a little conversation between Mafuyu and her mom. If you know anything about the Nightcord lore, you'll definitely know about Mafu Mom, and if you don't, just keep her in the back of your mind. Anyway, in this clip, Mafuyu is very cheerful and speaks with a cutesy little cadence, completely unlike the Mafuyu we've come to know this far. When Mafuyu tells her mom that she'll be going to an art exhibit about dolls, her mom immediately criticizes the exhibition and tells Mafuyu that her time would be better spent looking at paintings instead. Mafuyu easily brushes this off, though. It doesn't matter what the exhibition is about. I won't feel anything anyway. The group meets up outside the exhibit with some quick banter before heading inside. They walk around a little, making observations and remarks, and before long, Mafuyu says that she needs to go to the bathroom. On the way there, she spots a marionette doll being held up by red strings. She suddenly hears a voice and is sent into a panic, and this is where Kanade, and eventually the rest of the group, finds her. Mafuyu says that the doll makes her feel sick. She quickly recovers though. Kanade grills her with questions, but Mafuyu can't answer any of them, still stating that she doesn't know how she feels. After this little incident, the group decides to leave the exhibit. Musique offers to walk Mafuyu to the station, but she refuses and runs off on her own. Back at home, Kanade feels frustrated about how close she was to understanding more about Mafuyu, and decides to go to the empty Sekai in search of answers. She tells Miku about everything that's happened and asks for advice. Miku suggests that the doll reminded Mafuyu of herself. The scene cuts to Mafuyu in this weird little sleep paralysis hallucination dream thing where Enna and Musique talk about Mafuyu as if she's some sort of object, like a doll. Mafuyu thinks that she doesn't mind being a doll. She finds comfort in not having to think about anything, only having to do as she's told. Dream Kanade questions her again, and Mafuyu wonders why Kanade cares so much. Bam! Mafuyu wakes up because it was all a dream! Insane stuff. Anyway, she'd fallen asleep on call with Nightcord, so Kanade is there when she wakes up. Mafuyu tells Kanade about the dream. This turns into a little argument where Kanade is super insistent on getting Mafuyu to tell her how she feels about things, but Mafuyu keeps saying that she doesn't know. Mafuyu admits that she just goes about her daily life not feeling anything at all, but still feels like something is missing. When she struggles to express it properly through words, Kanade suggests that she expresses her feelings through writing lyrics. Mafuyu turns down this idea initially. However, after some persuasion from Kanade, she eventually agrees to give it a shot. In the Sekai, Mafuyu and Miku have a little conversation about Mafuyu's feelings. It's nothing out of the ordinary and honestly a little repetitive, but it's still part of the story, so I at least have to mention it. Same goes for the next scene, which is just the other members of Nightcord theorizing about Mafuyu's reaction to the marionette doll. Musique brings up Mafumam as a reason. Mafuyu enters the call and shares the lyrics she wrote. The group remarks that it feels different to anything Mafuyu's written before, in a good way. They all decide to put off their current work in progress and focus on producing a song for the new lyrics that Mafuyu wrote. 1 week later, Jackpot's Sad Girl is born. The group talks and has a sappy conversation about feelings again, but they convince Mafuyu to be more open about herself in the end, which is good. Yippee for character development! After this, Mafuyu starts being really honest. The next scene is of her absolutely ripping into Enna's art for the song and I understand that this is big for her, but give Enna a break! Good lord, girly! And that's it for the story. The next scene is a replay of the virtual live show that happens after every event, which is cool, but it doesn't add very much to the story, so yeah. This next section will eventually be for my thoughts and theories on the event story, but since this is the first one, there isn't a whole lot to say. It's the start of Mafuyu's journey, and that's about it. Jackpot's Sad Girl goes hard to this day, though, so everyone say thank you to Nightcord for the timeless banger. I hope this summary made sense. I may have rambled a bit, but, thanks for sticking around until the end. This isn't really indicative of the full story of the event, obviously, and I still heavily recommend playing for yourself. But Project Sekai stories are definitely yapfest, so just know what you're getting into beforehand. In any case, I hope you'll stick around for my summaries of the other events. Take care.